Vietnamese Buddhist Pine, an untapped treasure in the global bonsai market. The Vietnamese Buddhist Pine. 1. An introduction. Hello, everyone. When people think about pine trees used for ornamental landscapes or bonsai cultivation, they often picture the famous pines of Japan, China, or Taiwan, trees that have long been exported and admired throughout the world. But did you know that Vietnam is home to a remarkable species known as the Vietnamese Buddhist pine? Its Vietnamese name, Tung La Han, comes from its distinctive fruit, which resembles the image of a Buddhist arhat, a revered enlightened disciple in Buddhist tradition. For generations, this tree has been widely cultivated across Vietnam, from private gardens and traditional courtyards to bonsai collections ranging from small potted specimens to large-scale masterpieces crafted with extraordinary care and precision. The Vietnamese Buddhist pine has been cherished for centuries. It possesses exceptional vitality and resilience. Its foliage is fine and elegant. Its trunk and root base develop impressive character with age. As the tree matures, layers of bark gradually crack, peel, and weather naturally, creating a rugged appearance that reflects the passage of time. The species tolerates drought remarkably well. Its foliage remains green throughout the year, with little seasonal leaf drop. And because of its slow growth and durable wood structure, once a design is completed, the overall composition can remain stable and harmonious for many years. Cultural and spiritual significance. In Vietnamese culture, the Buddhist pine is regarded as a symbol of longevity, integrity, and noble character. It is traditionally associated with the celebrated quartet of symbolic plants: pine, chrysanthemum, bamboo, and plum blossom. Its enduring green foliage, combined with its ability to withstand harsh environmental conditions, has long represented perseverance, strength, and dignity. Historically, this tree was considered a plant of royalty and nobility, often found in royal palaces and aristocratic residences. Today, however, it has become far more than a decorative tree. It represents a philosophy of life, a passion shared by generations of bonsai enthusiasts, and a living cultural legacy that continues to flourish in modern Vietnam. How it differs from other pines in the international bonsai market. 1. Comparing the Vietnamese Buddhist pine with Japanese pines. Natural characteristics. The Japanese pines commonly seen in international bonsai collections are often known for their powerful trunks, darker bark, and compact, deep green foliage. The Vietnamese Buddhist pine presents a different character. Its leaves are generally longer and brighter in color, reflecting the abundant sunlight and tropical climate of Vietnam. Although it may not reach the massive size often associated with Japanese pines, it frequently develops impressive root spreads and strong trunk movement. The bark becomes increasingly textured with age, forming deep fissures and peeling layers that create a sense of antiquity, permanence, and resilience. B. Artistic philosophy and styling. Japanese bonsai often celebrate the themes of survival, time, and nature's harsh beauty. When viewing a Japanese pine, one immediately notices its grandeur. Tall trunks, long extending branches, and foliage pads arranged in clearly separated layers. The spaces between these pads are intentionally preserved, allowing light to penetrate the canopy and emphasizing the tree's natural structure. The overall image often resembles a mature pine standing in the wild. Vietnamese Buddhist Pine Bonsai, however, follow a different artistic direction. While usually smaller in scale, they are often shaped with extraordinary refinement and attention to detail. Vietnamese artists employ highly sophisticated techniques of pruning, directional cutting, branch development, and structural refinement. Traditional styles such as formal upright, pine form, windswept form, dragon-inspired form, and ancient tree compositions remain highly respected. One of the most distinctive characteristics of Vietnamese styling is the creation of dense, smooth foliage pads. Especially in northern Vietnam, these pads are carefully shaped into soft, flowing forms that resemble drifting clouds. Viewed from above, the canopy often appears rounded, harmonious, and visually organized. The result is not merely a realistic representation of nature. It is an artistic interpretation of nature, a balance between living material and human creativity. Market position and global recognition. Japanese pines continue to hold a prestigious position within the international bonsai world. Their reputation has been built through decades of professional classification systems, exhibition standards, and detailed tree documentation. As a result, exceptional Japanese specimens often command very high prices on the global market. Vietnamese Buddhist Pine Bonsai, however, are beginning to attract increasing international attention. One of the strengths of the Vietnamese market is its diversity. Alongside large and impressive specimens, there is a rapidly growing movement toward medium-sized trees, crafted with remarkable sophistication and artistic refinement. Collectors from around the world are becoming intrigued by the distinctive cloud-like foliage structures, the full and energetic silhouettes, and the positive symbolism often expressed through Vietnamese designs. If Japanese pine bonsai can be seen as realistic paintings that celebrate survival against the forces of nature, then Vietnamese Buddhist pine bonsai are more like poems that celebrate vitality, harmony, human craftsmanship, and the transformation of ancient trees into floating clouds of living art. Most importantly, the Vietnamese Buddhist pine is more than an ornamental tree. It is a living artwork that evolves with time, a reflection of cultural heritage, and a symbol of enduring human values passed from one generation to the next. 2. Comparing the Vietnamese Buddhist pine with Taiwan's diamond podocarpus. Taiwan is home to several highly respected podocarpus varieties, and among them, the diamond podocarpus is often regarded as one of the finest. Its foliage is relatively short, thick, and compact, with leaf tips that appear slightly rounded rather than pointed. When new growth emerges, the young shoots overlap in dense clusters, creating the visual impression of vibrant green blossoms unfolding across the canopy. One of its greatest advantages is its ability to maintain shape. The foliage naturally forms compact masses, allowing the tree to retain a clean and refined appearance with relatively little structural disruption. Because of its slow growth and compact leaf structure, Taiwanese artists frequently use this variety for medium-sized and miniature bonsai. Their design philosophy emphasizes precision, balance, and proportion. The relationship between tree, pot, and composition is often refined to an extraordinary degree of visual harmony. The foliage masses themselves naturally create attractive volumes and strong visual impact. The Vietnamese Buddhist pine tells a different story. Having adapted to the demanding climates found throughout Vietnam, from the cooler north to the tropical south, it possesses remarkable endurance, especially under intense sunlight and prolonged heat. As a result, mature specimens often develop rugged, multi-layered bark rich in texture and character. The aged bark appears almost like a visual epic of resilience, where weathered surfaces shaped by time support elegant green clouds sculpted by the skilled hands of Vietnamese artists. Three, entering the global bonsai market. Ladies and gentlemen, from the discussion so far, you may already have a clearer understanding of the Vietnamese Buddhist pine. In many ways, it remains one of the most underappreciated treasures in the global bonsai world. Its identity is distinctive. Its cloud pad styling is instantly recognizable. Its forms are carefully crafted and often carry meaningful cultural symbolism. Its aged trunks and weathered bark express a quiet sense of history and contemplation. Vietnamese Buddhist pine bonsai represent a unique artistic tradition shaped by generations of experience working with tropical bonsai material. Yet despite these strengths, Vietnamese Buddhist pine bonsai have not achieved the same international export presence as Japanese or Taiwanese bonsai. Several important challenges remain. 1. Plant quarantine and biosecurity barriers. As living plants, bonsai are subject to strict international regulations. Many major importing countries enforce rigorous biosecurity standards designed to prevent the spread of nematodes, fungi, insects, and other potentially harmful organisms. Because Buddhist pines grow very slowly, many Vietnamese nurseries traditionally cultivate them in natural alluvial soils or sandy riverbank soils. Some growers even use untreated organic fertilizers to accelerate growth. While these methods may be effective locally, such growing media often contain naturally occurring microorganisms and soil organisms that importing countries consider unacceptable. As a result, many trees would fail quarantine inspections before ever reaching international markets. At present, Vietnam still lacks a widely standardized system for converting mature bonsai into export-ready, sterile growing media before shipment. 2. The lack of standardized evaluation systems. In the international high-end bonsai market, collectors often purchase trees based on transparent documentation and recognized standards. In Vietnam, however, many transactions still rely heavily on personal trust, informal networks, and individual assessments. Without independent organizations capable of documenting, certifying, grading, and evaluating bonsai specimens, international buyers may hesitate to invest significant amounts of money. Simply put, without standardized references, it becomes difficult to establish internationally accepted values. 3. Differences in aesthetic preferences. Traditional Vietnamese styling possesses unique artistic qualities. The precisely trimmed cloud pads of northern Vietnam and the dense, rounded foliage structures commonly found in southern Vietnam create visual identities unlike those found elsewhere. However, these styles do not always align with contemporary international bonsai preferences. Much of today's global bonsai culture has been influenced by Japanese and European aesthetics. Many collectors prefer bonsai that resemble miniature versions of ancient trees found in nature. Traditional Vietnamese styling often places greater emphasis on symbolic forms, geometric structure, and artistic interpretation. Flat foliage pads may resemble decorative fans. Prominent apex structures can appear highly stylized rather than naturally occurring. To some international viewers, these features may feel more formal and sculptural than natural. That said, significant changes have emerged in recent years. Many Vietnamese artists are now developing medium-sized and miniature Buddhist pines with designs that appeal more directly to international tastes. The progress is promising, yet the number of export-ready trees that fully match current global demand remains relatively limited. 4. Logistics and commercial infrastructure. Countries with established bonsai export industries have spent decades refining transportation systems. They have developed specialized techniques for securing root balls, controlling moisture, and maintaining stable environmental conditions throughout long international shipments. trees can spend weeks inside refrigerated containers while remaining healthy and vigorous. Vietnam is still developing this infrastructure. Specialized logistics services dedicated to exporting large quantities of artistic bonsai remain limited. Small-scale shipping can be extremely expensive. The risks associated with transport damage, dehydration, or plant loss remain significant concerns for growers and exporters. As a result, many nurseries remain cautious about expanding into overseas markets. Nevertheless, the future remains full of opportunity. If these challenges can be addressed over the coming decade, Vietnamese bonsai may gain a far stronger presence on the international stage, allowing collectors around the world to discover the beauty, craftsmanship, and cultural depth of the Vietnamese Buddhist pine. What are your thoughts on this topic? Please leave a comment below and share your perspective with us. Thank you for watching. This is Beautiful Bonsai. See you again in our next program.